Go ahead and begin our open session of the board meeting. I will, why don't we begin with the Pledge of Allegiance? And student board, why don't you, will you lead us in the pledge, please? Thanks, Brandon. Okay, the record will reflect that all board members are present and report on action from closed session. During closed session, on item 2.1, regarding OAH case number 2022-020805, motion was made by Board Member Constant, seconded by Board Member Hirota to approve a settlement agreement, and the vote was 5-0 in the affirmative. It was unanimous with all board members voting in the affirmative to approve a settlement agreement. As to item 2.2, regarding OAH case number 2022-030754, motion was made by Board Member Constant, seconded by Board Member Hall, to approve a settlement agreement related to that case, an OAH case. The vote was 5-0, unanimous in the affirmative. All board members voted in the affirmative. As to items 2.3, 2.4, 2.5, and 2.6, no reportable action was taken. We'll go ahead and announcement of meeting protocols, although before we do begin the meeting protocols, I do want to welcome, we have 3 new people here. We've got 2 new board members, well, new today on the stand for us, right? Elizabeth, you've been here before, and you've been here before, okay. So good to see your smiling faces again, and I want to welcome you, and thanks for being here. And also want to welcome our newest board member, Marla Franz, first time officially on the dais, right from the get-go. So I want to welcome you here. Thank you for being here. On meeting protocols, I will, actually, let's go ahead and move forward. Communications.
Communications this evening. The first one is the board received a certification of compliance from the Division of the State Architect stating the cellular pole project at Granite Bay High School has been completed and in accordance with documents approved by the department. Second, the board received a certification of compliance from the Division of State Architects stating that the scoreboard construction project at Oakmont has been completed in accordance with documents approved by the department. And lastly, the board has received communication from Placer County Office of Education, who reviewed the district's second interim financial report and concurred with the district's positive certification.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay, board members, any questions? No? Okay, we'll move on. Student board representative report. Are we, let's have a report from our student board members. You all can rock, scissors, paper, or whoever would like to go first.
Oh, she already said I can go first, so all right.
That's because you did the pledge.
Right, exactly. So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Brandon Dolan. I've had the privilege to serve my school and my community as the ASB president at my high school. Again, big thank you to the board for letting me come up here and speak again. It's been a while since I've last done this, and I've been meaning to get one last board run-in before I graduate. So I got a couple things I want to talk about, because they kind of give me this chance to kind of brag about my school a little bit. So you know what? That's what we're going to do today. I think the first thing that, I think needs some recognition, Granite Bay High School actually has a rugby team. Now, their team isn't actually affiliated with their high school. However, a good majority of the guys who play on the team actually come from the school. And for the last couple months, the Granite Bay High School rugby team, or Granite Bay rugby team, has placed first in the nation for all club rugby teams. As of recently, they just came home from an international tournament playing in Ireland. They played with teams from all over the world and ranked, I think, 4th place at that. So they just solidified themselves as 4th in the world. So I think that's definitely something to recognize for our guys over at Granite Bay High School. Another good thing to recognize is it's been a week full of fun at Granite Bay High School. Our Powder Puff game is tomorrow. And for those of you who don't know what Powder Puff means, that is a great time for the girls of our high school. They get to play flag football against each other. It's juniors versus seniors, so you know there's a lot of competition when we have there. We also have the guys being the cheerleaders. I'm a cheerleader, so that's always going to be fun. We're going to have a rally tomorrow. We're going to have a spirit. We've had spirit days all the rest of the week. So really, I recommend if you guys, I don't know, happen to be in the Granite Bay area, stop by, see the game, and I promise you guys it wouldn't be one to miss. So that's another thing going on. Another thing is our speech and debate club. Now, I don't have a lot of information about this, but I work in student government with someone who's on speech and debate, and she wanted me to talk about it a little bit. But the speech and debate, they had 35 people go to, I believe, state to represent. And I don't know a lot about speech and debate, but I feel like that's a good amount of people to go represent Granite Bay High School for us. And after they went through that, they had 13 people out of those 35 make it to nationals. So we have 13 people representing Granite Bay High School and the Granite Bay community at the United States Speech and Debate Tournament going on. And so I don't really have a lot of details other than that, but I think that's another thing that should be recognized because I really think that number is the largest we've ever seen, that much students go to that high of a level in speech and debate. The final thing I kind of want to talk about is our robotics club. You know, me and the ties that I have with the engineering teacher over there, you know. For those of you who don't know, that's my dad, Mr. Dolan. He's the engineering teacher over there, and he just took the robotics team a couple weeks ago to state. Now, the way they do state in robotics is weird. They split it in 3. They do NordCal, Central California, and then SoCal. And our Granite Bay High School, our A team for robotics, placed 3rd in NorCal, but they call it 3rd in state. So that's another thing to recognize. And my dad wanted me to come up here and kind of give him a little shout out with that too. So, you know, I had to please the dad with that one. But anyways, there's a lot of great things going around Granite Bay campus. You know, if I had 20 minutes, 30 minutes, I could say all of them, but you know, I don't want to take up your guys' time. But yeah, as we're wrapping up things, you know, the environment at Granite Bay High School has been great. And AP IB tests are going on, so a lot of students are stressed with that. But once that's going to be all done, we're going to be ready to graduate, and yeah, it's been really good. Thanks for this time tonight, guys.
Elizabeth.
Very hard act to follow. Hi, I'm Elizabeth Kirkman. I'm the Independence High School student representative. Next week, we are having our final Spirit Week to close off the school year. We are calling it May the School Spirit Be With You. We are very excited and we're very passionate about incorporating all of our Spirit Weeks with our distance learning and in person. I would like to give a shout out to all of our teachers who are working all of our CTE programs and with Roseville Pathways of merging all of the schools together right now. So that was it. And then also at the other ComSite schools, I've been told that they have been having all their AMA awards and finishing off all of their spring sports. So they're all looking forward to finishing up their school year as well.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Brandon, you can tell your dad that that you mission accomplished. You gave us the notice, and I think I speak for everyone here to say I would like to just have just a portion of that energy that you have. You know, just if I could dial it up just a notch, that would be great. Okay, board members, committee reports.
2 quick committee reports. Facilities Committee, we had a very brief meeting to talk about the surplus property sale. Did I say that right? Or the industrial site property sale. That's about all that's going on there. The big one is the Policy Committee, and you'll see in the consent agenda, item 413, I believe it is, quite a few policies, but I just want to remind you that the reason we have so many is because we're in the middle of this big transition to the aligning our policies with the CSBA Gamut policy online portal. That means that some of our policies have had to be renumbered. Some of them have had to be slightly adjusted. There have been a lot of minor changes. Pretty much everything you see today are pretty much those minor changes, getting us in line so that things are in the right place. There are a couple of policies that have been deleted, but they're being deleted, most of them, with one exception, I'll explain that in a minute, because they are actually incorporated in other policies now as we sort of standardize our policies. The one that is not is the last one, the distance learning. That was a policy that was put in place with the pandemic changes, but the state no longer allows that, so it's extraneous policy. So, like I said, there's a lot of them in there, but it's really kind of getting us into conforming with the numbering system and getting online. I should also add that our policies are now online in the Gamut portal, which the public can now access from our website. I will say that you go there and then you have to click on the word that says policies, but once you get there, then you will see it's much easier to navigate, a lot more clear. So hopefully that will serve our public better, and it'll also make it easier for us to find our policies when we're referring to them. And I'm just going to ask staff, did I miss anything I should have said? Okay.
Can you elaborate on the surplus on the industrial property? Are we, because I know it's
Joe,
been for sale.
Joe can.
Are we selling it? Are we not selling it? What are we? Is that subject, is that subject to the Surplus Property Act where you have to have all the set-asides for, you have to offer it to other public agencies first, and you have to have, if you sell it, you have to set aside so much for low-income housing, and then you have to have prevailing wage that attaches to it and all kinds of. Thank you. Any other questions about that? No? Is that it?
That's it, sir.
Okay, public comment. This is the time where members of the public can address the board on any item that is not on the agenda. If you want to address the board on an item that is on the agenda, go ahead and we'll go ahead and wait for that item, or you can turn in a speaker card with that item on it as the number. But it is important to note that any complaints about a member of a specific employee or an employee of the district should be made to that employee's immediate supervisor or the principal as required by board policy and administrative regulation. This is not the appropriate place to make those comments about a specific individual. For non-agenda items, we have one speaker card, Michelle Peterson. How you doing, Michelle?
I'm good. Good evening. My name is Michelle Peterson. I have a graduating senior at Oakmont High School, and I can't believe we're almost at 30 days. What a ride it's been. I'd first like to welcome Trustee Marla Franz. Congratulations, and I know you're going to be great. This I'm not sure. We received an email today from Oakmont, and it was for interest for lacrosse at Oakmont. I'd like to put it out there for anybody listening. They're looking for how big of an interest it would be to have a lacrosse team. My daughter played lacrosse from 4th grade until sophomore year. She played club, she played Granite Bay, and she played at Roseville. During that time, we also watched 3 schools in the district get a lacrosse team. We had probably about her 7th grade year, inquired at Oakmont whether there would be a lacrosse team because it was really what she wanted to do. She also was a cheerleader. So it was kind of pick the most expensive things we could do. Yeah. We were told at the time, no, Oakmont wasn't even entertaining it. So today when it came, there was kind of some bittersweetness. And with all of that, disappointed that it took so long, but excited that there is an opportunity possibly for Oakmont to have girls and boys lacrosse. It is an amazing sport. Anybody that plays it, you will love it. It is incredible. With that being said, this is my plug. With or without lacrosse being there, it's usually played on the football field. I don't know if this has already been discussed, but Oakmont is in desperate need of having their stadium fixed, repaired, updated. It is a hazard. So I would hope that somewhere the board, if it hasn't already been expressed, would be looking into fixing the Oakmont football stadium. It is much needed, especially since we've done lots of things at other schools and their stadiums seem to be amazing. And we witnessed during football season a couple accidents. So with that being said, thank you. And it is a great day to be a Viking, by the way. And I look forward to the next 30 days enjoying my senior. So thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, yes. By the way, my daughter did commit to Jessup on a stunt scholarship. So the bittersweetness of whether lacrosse had been at Oakmont or not comes with, they are the same season. So she would have had to give up stunt for lacrosse and maybe not gotten a scholarship. So since that's more of a East Coast thing, but she did try 2020 to do both, but then COVID hit, so.
I happen to know of a universal need for coaches and assistant coaches for newer sports that come along like lacrosse. So if a student, hypothetically speaking, that went to Oakmont and attends William Jessup, I hear that the commute is pretty easy.
Oh, it
get back-
is,
To get back to Oakmont to help out with a.
with lacrosse. And my husband did coach for a bit. I am definitely not a coach because I don't even understand
I'm
the
talking about your
game
daughter.
still, but my daughter, yes,
Your
she
daughter can
would.
help.
The problem being is that stunt and lacrosse are same season. So, but
Yeah.
thank you guys.
Congratulations. Okay, any others, please? Tell us your name.
My name's Deanna Ponsetti. I have a freshman at Oakmont, and I thought today started at 7. I can't keep my head on straight. We got 20 days left at Ike, no, less than 30 at Oakmont. But I was here last month when we were here with the Oakmont band, and I was saying that I was going to wait and see what happened because Mr. Basham and Ms. Gouveia both had kind of conflicting things within the same couple hours. But I just want to say thank you. I am anxiously awaiting more information, but I heard that interviews for our new band director went well. I guess we're waiting for final signatures, and then we'll hopefully get to meet this individual. So I'm very excited and optimistic and excited that my son will be a Viking again next year. And I just want to ask the board to keep Oakmont in mind because with a new director in all of our programs and declining enrollment school, we still need funding to make sure that that program is successful. And myself and some other parents are working really hard to build up our parent booster base, but we're going to need your help too. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other public comment? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Board members, anybody have any comments or requests or want to pull a consent item?
I had lots of questions, and I think we'd have a great discussion with 4.15 and 4.17.
1.5 and 1.7.
And then I just have a comment around 4.19. I don't need to pull it. I just want to make a comment.
Perfect, go ahead.
Oh, the comment is, so I attended a SILT meeting, which is Continuous Improvement Learning Team. Sorry. I just did continuous improvement at work today, so I'm close. Anyway, it was a really thoughtful meeting. And one of the things that came out of it that I realized is a lot of the work that's done in that meeting gets passed through our school site councils ahead of time, right? And so I would like to invite families and parents and students to find a way to go to the school site council meetings to become more informed about the curriculum information that then rolls up to the curriculum and instruction learning leadership. Anyway, and that way that everyone will be much more informed by the time it makes it to SILT, by the time it makes it to the board, which would help inform all of us about the curriculum instruction and how to make good decisions.
So it starts at the site council,
It starts at the site council,
then goes to SILT.
goes to SILT, which
Which
Ms.
I'm not gonna
Layton
say
will
what
tell
it
you what
means.
it stands for, and then and then it'll show up in somewhere like the consent agenda, approval of instructional materials, first reading, which also invites the community to look at the materials again before it goes on to approval. Yes? Brief comment.
Yeah, because the thousands of people that are watching from home can't hear you. I'm sorry, the tens of thousands who are
Yes.
watching from home.
Yes, exactly.
So we were talking about the first reading, the second reading.
Or any, just how, basically how uh, families, parents, guardians, students can become more informed about this and
Right.
what that process looks like.
Right, and
first
so you
second
were
readings.
exactly right. So it starts at the school site council after it's gone through various people within the school system, the principals and the leadership teams on the campuses, department chairs, and then it goes to school site council, and then it goes to SILT. And if it's a material like a textbook or a digital material, and we feel like we need more time, we might talk about it twice at a SILT meeting 2 months in a row. Maybe we learn a little bit more as we're discussing it. And we say, okay, we're not quite ready. So sometimes it'll come back the next time. Sometimes we feel like we have all the information we need to make a decision right then. So that does vary a little. What you're asking?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's perfect.
Okay, great.
Thank you. Come on up. Ms. Is it Ponsetti? Yeah, please.
Attended the Oakmont Site Council meeting for that exact purpose, to be informed and find out information. And I found it to be a very frustrating process because it felt like a rubber stamp meeting. Felt like everything had been decided. There was no discussion. There was no discourse. There were 3 public comments that kind of raised concerns and questions. And then it was like, okay, thank you. And then we just went about our meeting, stamp, approve, and that was it. So I want to know how to get more involved. And so that was my reason for attending, was to find that out. So if there's something before site council that I need to be aware of, I would love to know. Because when I'm an involved parent, and when I go, and I don't think I'm going to get my way every time, but I at least want to feel heard. And that was not the case at all at the Oakmont Site Council meeting, just this most previous one. So if there's another way or another avenue, I would love to know it, because it did not feel like there was any opportunity for discussion and discourse.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Anyway, come on, go ahead. Come on up. We've opened the can of worms. Let's keep pouring it out. Go ahead.
About the site council meeting, I have a student at West Park, and I've noticed it's been a challenge to just even know when the meetings are. I was able to find out by multiple attempts of reaching out to the vice principal. It hasn't been posted. It's just the communication. That's what I would encourage, is that to be disseminated, so everyone, it's transparent and it gives parents an opportunity to be involved. Thankfully, I happened to reach out again on a day last week that they changed the meeting but didn't know. And then I just encourage, it seems like those meetings conflict with the board meetings on Thursdays. So it's kind of like you kind of pick and choose. Do you go to site council or do you come here? And so I would just encourage a little more collaboration and effort. So it does allow us, for just me to be there and be present and try and be informed. So it is more of that collaboration in this process. So that's just my 2 cents.
Thank you.
So Scott, could we make this a board agenda for maybe next time? I have already asked April to pull the bylaws for the site council meetings, just to see what is already written up as the procedures. Maybe we can talk about it, or is.
Yeah, it may not be at the
meeting?
next meeting, but this is something that we can certainly talk about. We'll put it on the list of
Okay.
items to talk about. Yeah.
Okay.
What you were saying about the site council meeting being on the same day, my site council meetings are on Monday, so is that just a school thing of a different day for each school site? Okay.
So we've had a request to pull item 4.15 and 4.17. So is there a motion to approve the consent calendar with those 2 items pulled?
I'll move to approve.
Motion by Hirota,
I'll second.
second by Constant. Roll call. Barbara?
Yes.
Marla France,
Yes.
Heidi Hall.
Yes.
Julie Hirota.
Yes.
And Scott Huber.
Yes. Okay, 4.15, contract with Riverside County Office of Ed. And Marla, you pulled this. What is it? Did you have a
I
question
did.
about it?
Well, originally I read through all of these, and I had some questions about whether grades were the best metric to use to determine well, first of all, for just in general readiness for high school, as well as whether why we couldn't run these reports ourselves. It looked like we were spending a lot of money just inputting transcript grades. I ended up having a really good conversation with April about this. And I think I'll let you explain a little bit about what they're planning on doing for us.
Sure, happy to.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Marla and I spoke, and she thought it'd be helpful for a broader awareness of what we do with, and this, I'll remind you, this is the A3g grant funding that we received specifically to increase and maintain our high A3g completion rates in our district. And so one of the things that we've done is an A3g audit. We did that this spring in February with all of our comprehensive high schools, with leadership teams made up of the principal, assistant principal, the counselors, and some of our teacher leaders, looking through the data to see how are our students doing in completing A3g. Are we seeing any COVID gaps in completion or any dips, any things that we can do to support? And it was a really great conversation with those teams, and across the schools they said, let's continue doing this and let's check on how are our seniors doing this year after graduation. How did we do? So that will be our next step as a high school district. It's something that we anticipate doing annually for our juniors, and then periodically after the fact for our seniors to check. And we were talking about how as a piece of getting this funding, we also commit to posting our A3g completion rates on our website. So the state of California always posts that, and they have a dashboard with all of the information, but we will also be posting that. So that's part of our college and career readiness initiative, where we're expanding this time is to what we're calling high school readiness for our current 8th graders, incoming 9th graders. And so we've reached out to our 3 partner districts to see if they would like to participate in this high school readiness audit, if you will. And so great conversations. We know that grades are not the only factor, but they are an important factor. They're aligned with college acceptance as well as college success and completion. And so it is one of the indicators that 8th grade and middle schools are looking at statewide. Interestingly, we would be the first high school district partnership in the state to do this. The others that are doing this particular audit already are K-12 districts, where it's a lot, kind of more streamlined for them to do their own high school readiness audit of this sort. So we did open it up to our middle school, our feeder partner districts. They're interested. A couple of them are super busy, so they're saying, well, we'll let you know next year. But Eureka is already on board and said, let's sign us up, let's do this. And we're hopeful that the other 2 will be able to find some time as well. So just a note on the contract, we only get paid for who participates. So it's written, so we have that open door for all 3 of the districts. We have 1 commitment so far, a lot of interest and seeing the value of it. We just need to make sure the priorities and the timeline works for everybody. And so with working with Riverside County Office of Ed, they are known as the leaders statewide in the audit process, both for the high school readiness and A3g. And with the A3g grants being distributed, they're doing this work statewide now. So we work with PCOE. PCOE is looking to build their capacity and readiness to support us. But in the meanwhile, we have this contract directly with Riverside County. And it is our hope that down the road a few years, we would be sustainable in being able to run these reports ourselves. Part of it is we need to clean up our student information system data, make sure it's accurate, make sure the reports are running well. We need to make sure that our staff is trained on what we're looking for and how to guide our students and build up our experience and readiness. And then this is something that ongoing, we do believe we can build our own capacity. And meanwhile, it's great that we have 4 years of grant funding to support and provide this, this tool for us to build and support our students. I think, did I hit on the main ones?
Actually, I have one more question. So you said that you were going to, part of the agreement is we'll post the A3g completion rates. Will you also include acceptances into the UCs, as well as, you'd mentioned that there was some data outside of this that could potentially be available to help our parents understand how many kids are getting into the UC system?
Right, yes. So what we mentioned is we also get data separately from this from the National Student Clearinghouse.
And so we can look at maybe publishing some reports. Those won't be by student, but we are able to see how many of our students get in. And so it's a little bit different than acceptance rates, because what we don't know is how many applied. But it will tell us how many get in to 2-year and 4-year. Are they CSUs? Are they UCs? Are they private schools nationwide? And we get to track our students that graduate from us for 6 years to see, are they completing and successful? And so yes, that's something that we plan to come back with more information, since that's of interest. And
I think that would be great to combine for our families.
great, thank you for that input. Any other questions or comments on this one?
I have a comment, if it's okay. Issues like this where we can be better if we partner with our feeder districts are exactly why I want to continue to ask that we have joint board meetings. I personally believe we should be having a joint board meeting with hopefully all of our feeder districts. That would be the best, but at least once a year with each of our feeder districts. Because we do know that all of our schools, from lowest grade level to the highest grade level, we all have bandwidth issues. But when the boards get together and set priorities on working together, whether it be issues like this or issues of coordinating our school calendars or any of those other things, I think it's incumbent on us as the board leaders for us to get together and try and speak as boards together on the issues that are important to us, so that the bandwidth can be made to accomplish these important things. So I'm using that to stump a little for what I've been.
Yeah, I actually have some news on that. If this is an advertisement, I've got some news on that to share during board member comment.
Good.
There's a movement afoot. There's some preparations. Anyway.
Good.
Stay tuned.
What Trustee Constance said, it's real important. We have 3,000 freshmen approximately coming to us every year, and trying to reach back to 3 partner districts is extremely difficult, and they keep us in limbo a lot, waiting for student data. Again, having 3 student databases and their processes, it can be very challenging. We know A3g completion rate is directly a result of 9th grade. What happens in 9th grade will impact most kids with their A3g completion rate. And so I think that's where this is helpful. We've been Scott, you've been around, we've been a regional leader in A3g completion rate, from our Title I kids to our high-end kids, everything. And this helps us keep moving forward. And what we started to see because of the 2 years with COVID is some interesting trends we weren't quite aware of until this data came out. For example, during COVID, kids didn't take world language. And that's a huge indicator. If a student doesn't take it as a freshman, they wait till the sophomore, junior year, there's a probability of them not being A3g because of that second year of world language. So there's little things like that that help us avoid complacency, help us look at details. And more importantly, the Riverside County folks are very good at facilitation. Having sat through 2 of these, they get the teams to really think in a different way. And it's really neat to watch your admin, counselors, and selected teachers really engage down to the student level on the little things that can get 1 or 2 or a dozen more kids through A3g completion. So just wanted to put that in there. And I do agree with Pete. And I think this is one more step to knock on the door of collaboration with our partner districts.
Other questions, comments? If not, is there a motion?
Motion to pass this.
Okay, motion by Board Member Franz. Is there a second? Pete? I'm sorry, Board Member Constant, second. This does not require a roll call vote. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? Motion carries 5-0. 4.17, approval of Edgenuity curriculum and licenses.
Okay, so my first reaction when I read this was helping kids with credit recovery, and we were going to do it online. And we've learned through COVID that online does not work for a lot of kids. But then I was taken aback by how many kids we have to help. And I was also very impressed with the thoughtfulness of how you're trying to run them through for this summer, as well as I'm looking forward to next summer. And I was a little astounded by it all. And I think people should hear what we have to overcome.
Thank you, Marla. I appreciate that. Yes, when we wrote the grant for A3g effectiveness and some of our COVID relief or learning loss funding, we had to do an analysis of how many students, individual students, not just courses, from March of 2020 through last year received a D or an F. And that unduplicated number of students, so they might have been one or more courses, 6,177 of our students over that time period received a D or an F in at least one course. And that is huge. When we look at our, go ahead.
I was gonna say, many of those, they're multiple, it's not just,
Right.
many of them, they have them in multiple courses, not just in one course.
Correct. So that's the unduplicated number of distinct students. And so it was absolutely astounding. And when we looked at what do we typically do in a summer session, summer school, what is the number of students that we typically serve, we're in the ballpark of 900. And that's not going to make a difference. And we feel this urgency. These are our students now. We want to serve them. We want to help them get on track, whether it's A through G, whether it's graduation, whatever their goal is, let's help them get on track and let's scale that up. So we looked at, okay, we're great, we have some funding, that's one part. What else? How do we do this? How do we scale up at such an amount? And so we worked with our folks internally. So we met and did a whole committee on credit recovery and what do we need to do, meeting with counselors, guidance counselors, school counselors, assistant principals, teacher leaders, and did an analysis of what are we doing and what do we need to do. And overwhelmingly, this protocol came forward as let's get a curriculum that's vetted, rigorous, but already set. Because what we found we were asking our teachers to do was do it all for credit recovery. Now we do credit recovery during the school year and summer school, but our teachers had to create the course. Then they had to deliver the lessons. Then they had to support students. Then they had to grade. And doing that all in a compacted amount of time is very, very difficult. And so to make it work, we had smaller class sizes of 20 to 25. We had smaller numbers of types of courses they were teaching. And we had to make it manageable. But if we use a curriculum like Edgenuity that's already set, already aligned, already vetted with UC, so it's A through G approved, and we still get to customize it, then our teachers aren't having to design and deliver. They get to focus on monitoring student progress and supporting them and being the support for our students. It also allows them, because they're not designing it, they could support more types of courses. So if I'm an English teacher, as I was, I could have students, and I could say instead of 20 to 25, I could have 35 to 40 students. And they could be in English 9, English 10, English 11, English 12. And it's okay because I'm not doing the direct instruction. I'm monitoring the platform, I'm providing support. Let's pull these English 9 students and support. How are you doing? How can I support you? And then I'll pull my English 10, and it changes the role of the teacher to be more strategic and efficient in this credit recovery model. And remember, credit recovery, it's not the first time students are seeing it. They've been through the course, but they received that D or that F. And so we worked with RSEA as partners and said, okay, might we figure this out and work in this way? And they've agreed. So we have a side letter agreement on how to work with Edgenuity. We have a side letter agreement on what summer school can look like. So this is our first summer that we're up for trying this new model, scaling it up. And with the agreements, with the compensation and how we've set it up, we already have recruited sufficient teachers to meet 3,000 students. Should we need to. Now we are planning for 1,500, where right now our counselors are moving into that recruitment mode. So we are expecting about 1,500 students to want to join us in summer. But if it becomes closer to 3,000, we're ready because we now have an AM PM model where we have 40 teachers already signed up. That will handle the 1,500. But if we needed more, they can go AM and PM with 2 different sets of students, and we could get bigger. It's just a more scalable model that we believe will support our students with the protections and the supports of making sure it's rigorous curriculum that we're proud of.
Any other questions, comments?
Top of your head, is it specific courses that have the highest rate of D's and F's, meaning are we seeing it mostly in math? Are we seeing it mostly in English? Or is it just all over?
It is we focus on the core subjects. And so it is mostly math and English. And that's partly because our students need to take more math and English courses than any other. So yes, so it would be, I would say first English, then math and history and science would be the focus for summer. We do have a smattering of electives. Some of them are easier to do in an online setting than others. And then we're looking to provide this ongoing as well as one of the credit recovery options in the regular school year. Elizabeth?
Not like going to be designing the courses anymore, that it's still like you can like customize it. What did you mean by that?
Thank you for asking. So although it's a set pre-approved curriculum, the UC Office of the President, who validates all the A3g, they give us about a 15% customization rate. And so what we do is we still run the courses through our department committees. So we have our English committee look at the English courses and our math committee look at the math courses. And so we might say, you know what, in RJUHSD, we emphasize these and maybe don't emphasize that, or we want to adjust, we could add in a project-based learning, or we customize and we give ourselves about that 15% percentage point to do that customization. Interestingly, we've been using Edgenuity in our district for more than 3 years on a very small scale. So these courses aren't all having to go through that process, although we want to keep revising and double checking. Many of the courses have been, especially these English and math and some of the core courses, have been vetted by our teachers, and it's something that we'll continue to do and review. So we're pretty comfortable with the content. We've just been doing it at a very small scale, and each school has been buying their own licenses. So 10 here, 20 there, and doing it in a different approach. So we're looking at doing this district-wide, getting a better deal by doing it this way, and being able to scale it up.
Quick question. Did you say the unduplicated number of students was 6,000?
Yes.
So 6 out of 10 students got a D in at least D or F in one course.
And again, it spans two academic years. So you might say, well, if there's graduates, so maybe it's out of 12,000 students. But yes, it's a lot.
That's a lot. And then, so some of that, I think, could be at least in part attributed to that it was related to just distant learning, that some of them just need, that personal interaction. Is there an in-person component to any of this?
Great question, and not yet. We wanted to, we looked into it. Given the scaling that we're doing for this summer, we didn't want to bite off more than we can chew and do it poorly. So that would be the plan for the following summer. We would like to have some more on-ground support, especially for student populations that may benefit even more. Maybe if a student's on an IEP or an English learner, or just a student that wants on-ground, we want to add that next summer. This summer, we will continue to have our moderate severe students on campus. We always do in that approach. And we will continue to have the ELD, the English Language Development class, on campus. But those are the two groups on campus. The rest will be online for this summer. Part of that is also a staffing issue, just to get the teachers, having the flexibility of where they teach from is helpful. And so we wanted to continue that for this summer when we had the biggest numbers, and then we'll hopefully address a large number of that. And then as we go forward, we'll get a sustainable amount and be able to bring some on campus.
Yeah, and again, I know we're rapidly approaching the summer in less than 30 days, I hear. So I'm told, but for the next time around, even if it's just like a drop in for extra help kind of thing for
that, we do have an open lab. So we'll have an open lab with staff morning and afternoon.
Okay.
We're encouraging people to come in and take their tests in person. So yes, we definitely have support.
well,
accessible.
that's what I was talking about. Because I know sometimes you can only struggle so much with the computer, and then it's like, I've got to have someone to
Absolutely.
explain it to me and talk to me about it.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, well, good. All right. Any other questions, comments? If not, is there a motion?
Motion to pass this.
All right, motion by Board Member Franz. Is there a second? Second by Board Member Hall. All those in favor say aye. 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 Any opposed? Any abstained? Motion carries unanimously. Okay. Item 5.1, I believe that takes care of our consent calendar. 5.1, RSEA report. Evening.
Oh my gosh, we were there till 6:30. It was really long. Okay. So actually, this is really good because we've already had some parents that have tied into what I'm going to talk about. So it's kind of a good thing. So good evening. We all know declining enrollment is a statewide trend that our public schools are facing. We know that families are moving here to Roseville. We see the houses being built all around. We know one of our main feeder school districts, Roseville City, is building and plans to continue to build new elementary schools to keep up with demand. However, despite all this, there are currently 3 comprehensive schools, at least in RJUHSD, that are to varying degrees facing declining enrollments. Our board says that multiple charter schools into our district is good. It helps create competition, which drives us to be better, and that we have enough students to go around. That isn't being represented when we see schools losing students. Clearly, the charter schools are not the sole factor. I am simply stating that it is one of the factors that affects enrollment. There are many reasons for the decline in enrollment around the district, like large capacity district schools being built and drawing students away from other sites, families choosing to homeschool or online learning, or even leaving our state, and areas of Roseville that have a stable older population who no longer have school-age children, leading to less students attending their neighbors' schools. Each of these factors can have a dramatic effect on our schools losing students. For example, a 15-year teacher that I am at Roseville High School, I can speak with authority about our site, which has approximately 150 less incoming freshmen for next school year than in previous years. This decline in enrollment means that we're losing 8+ teachers, and our positions have to be eliminated for next school year, and the teachers who fill them either need to transfer or be let go. Thankfully, Roseville High School has 6 retirees this year, which helps to shore up this gap. But we are still transferring some very strong teachers who have helped to build thriving programs of study and who do not want to leave our school and our students. Unfortunately, an exodus of teachers leads to self-fulfilling prophecy. When a school starts to lose attractive programs of study, it makes it less likely for families to want to send their kids to that school. Obviously, less students enrolled means the school will receive less money, which makes it harder to support the programs and teachers that are in demand by the public. It spirals quickly from there. We all want every single school in our district to be strong and viable. We all want each school to have a thriving student population who can find classes, pathways, and programs that support their areas of interest. We all want our existing schools that have established roots in our community to be the schools that serve our next generation of students. I'm calling on you, the board, and the district administration to address this situation immediately. Make it a priority, stop the huge losses, and ensure that all students have equitable opportunities and rebalance our schools before it's too late. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, item 5.2, EL Master Plan Update.
So my name is Melanie Pondo. I am the English Learner Support Coordinator for the district. And I have some slides to share with you all today. So this is, hi. So today's presentation is really just kind of a snapshot of really what's going on in my world and in the world of English learners in our district. So first, we're going to talk about who are our English learners. When we talk about English learners, we're really talking about 2 groups. We're talking about our English learners, and we're talking about our reclassified fluent English proficient students. So first, I want to talk about our English learners, and those are our students that need support with English. And what we do for them, the short version, is we provide them designated ELD, which is an English language development course that Dr. Moore talked about. We also provide them integrated ELD, so that's where they're receiving English support in all of their classes. And we also give them the summative LPAC every year to see how are they doing, how is their English. In our district, these are our numbers of our English learners right now. These are like actual student numbers. So
This year?
This year, yeah, currently. So I pulled this report like a week ago. We have gotten 13 new students, so we're going to add 13 to this mix at some point. But the interesting thing to note, typically Antelope, Roseville, Oakmont have had our highest numbers of English learners. Wood Creek is climbing, and this year we've seen a huge influx of newcomer students and refugee students. And so it's really changing the demographic and changing the program here of how we support those students. So those are our English learners. I do want to highlight our RFEP students because these are students that have met the criteria that no longer classify them as English learner. However, we still look out for these students. We don't just say, congratulations, you got it, bye. We're still monitoring their data, their grades, their data, their attendance. We have documentation that we do to make sure that they're doing okay. So we do take care of these students for 4 years after their reclassification date. And just so you know, if you're not familiar with it, these are our reclassification criteria. These are based off of the state. They align directly with what the state outlines, and these are our board-approved reclassification requirements. There's 4 components. The first one is that LPAC test that I talked about. The student has to get a 4. I almost said a 4 or better. It's out of, like, the 4 is the highest score. So the student has to get the highest score on the LPAC to even be considered for reclassification, and that's set by the state. We follow that. The second component is teacher evaluation. We look at grades, and so we're looking at that GPA of 2.0 or higher. Parent consultation, obviously, we include the parent when we do consider reclassification and their input is taken. And then the last criteria, and it's one we'll talk about a little bit later as well, is how are these students doing to their English-speaking peers with those basic skills? So we use the CASP to measure that. We use the District Common Assessment, which students take in an English class. They take it every year in an English class. And then something we're going to talk about is maybe even adding in IXL. And the reason we are going to talk about this criteria is because you'll see, actually, we're just going to go there. You'll see these are our reclassification rates over the last 3 years, and we are reclassifying less students. And the reason is because of that last criteria. So with all the things that have been going on, the District Common Assessment, we weren't giving it with fidelity. And so that took away an opportunity for these students to demonstrate their proficiency. And so that's why you see this really not fantastic decline. And so in an effort to turn that trajectory around, we're talking about adding in, well, doing the DCA with more fidelity and then adding in another component for reclassification for that basic criteria. Makes sense. So we acknowledge that these numbers aren't great, but we're working on it. We have a plan. Any questions? Another thing in my world was the federal program monitoring visit was this past fall. Basically what these folks come in and do is just review our programs and are we doing right by our students. And so our entire district English learner program was reviewed as well as 2 school sites, Antelope High School and Oakmont. And we did really great. Antelope and Oakmont were fantastic. They have amazing programs and amazing staff, and it was really great experience. The 2 findings that were found, were really quick, easy fixes. So one of them was that we needed to update our Title III plan, which we took care of right away. And then the other one was something to do with the way we were doing timesheets when we pay our teachers for doing things for English learners. And we took care of that right away as well. So we were really pleased with that. Another component is professional development. So how are we supporting our teachers? I'm not sure if you remember hearing about this last year, but we are continuing our work with EL Rise. And what we're really focusing on, I don't know which FPM, it was an FPM before my time, a finding was that we weren't really doing integrated ELD at all or well. And so what this helps us do is it helps us focus on integrated ELD and how are we providing that English language support for our students in all classes. And what I keep telling myself and other people is that all students are language learners. So when we talk about this professional development, it's not just for our English learners, it's for all of our students in any science class, any history class. They all can benefit from this, just good teaching. And so things you'll see when I talk about integrated ELD strategies are like sentence frames, conversation starters, structured collaborative discussions. These are all these strategies that our teachers are using, which again is just good teaching. And so we're going to continue with this. We've been doing the work this year. We're going to continue this next year as well. Then there's family engagement. It's been half of it's been on Zoom, as you all know, and so we're kind of working on this, and this is an area that is going to continue to grow in the years to come. But the big thing is we do have our district DLAC committee, which is our district English Learner Advisory Committee. We meet every month, and that team is growing. And then we had our community workshops, which we started up in the second half of the year and were super fulfilling and really engaging. The pictures you see are from our first generation student panel, where we invited students from, well, we invited all students, but students from Wood Creek and Roseville came to serve on the panel and just talked about their experience being the first generation student in a school in the United States and how what they learned and how they felt like their parents could support them. And it was just a great time. And the audience enjoyed the conversation as well. So that's going to continue and grow. And we have our first annual reclassification awards ceremony coming up, and you all are invited to that. What we're doing is we're inviting those 26, 27 students who we reclassified this school year, and we're gonna have a dinner, and there'll be a photo booth, and it'll just be a celebration for them and their families of being language bosses, for lack of a better word, and not only showing proficiency in their own language, but in English as well. So you're welcome to come to that. So the EL master plan, which is what you all came here for, I don't have it for you yet because it's still in draft form and that is coming. But what I do want you to have a heads up on is that the things that you will see that are different from last year are first and foremost that reclassification requirements. We are looking to add more to that fourth component, which has basically been the roadblock for reclassification. So that is coming. In, I believe, a June board meeting. You'll get the document and you'll have time to review it, but that's a significant update. The other significant update is our Newcomer Protocol. The last 2 weeks alone, we've had 13 new students from out of the country, 10 of which are from Ukraine. And so our sites are doing a great job of onboarding them. We're just making it more systematic and consistent and super comprehensive. We have wellness involved in it. We've got our counselors involved in it. We have teachers involved in it. It's just a really detailed and consistent protocol that we've added to the EL master plan. We've transitioned, for those of you who've been here a while, from having a counselor designated to EL to an EL site liaison to now eliminating that role, but we're not eliminating, like, nothing's getting dropped in the elimination. Elimination is a bad word. So as we make that transition, this mic isn't as we make that transition, you see documented how we've kind of shifted the roles and responsibilities so that everyone is still taken care of. We're just shifting. And then the last thing is the Elevation platform, which we are super excited to onboard. It's basically a data management system for our English learners. And I can go on for days about how amazing this program is, but the really short highlights, it helps make our jobs easier when it comes to monitoring our English learners, and it makes the counselor's job easier when it comes to making sure everyone is taken care of and everyone is doing well. And it also, some of our feeder schools use it, and we're actually able to, if we sign an MOU, see the data. So we'll have English learner data from our students from that feeder school from kindergarten until they're with us. So it's actually really, really exciting. It's a lot. Any questions?
We're good. Keep moving.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. State Seal of Biliteracy is another exciting thing happening. This number has actually gone up since this presentation was made, but for this year, we are awarding about 419 awards for the State Seal of Biliteracy. So again, the state has the criteria that they set, and students apply for this seal. You can see that we had 3 students apply for more than one seal. So like a student applied for a seal in Spanish and in German, and she got both. And then 99 of these students are either current or former English learners. And so we're really proud of them. And these are all the languages of all the students that are getting this award. So it's super exciting. That number should be higher, which is fine. Just so you know, next year we're changing the process. Right now it's a student-driven process where they apply for the seal. Next year, we're gonna be able to generate a query, or like a report that tells us who has met the criteria so we can award it to them. So that number, yeah, it should be way higher, and it's going to be higher next year.
I was gonna say most students who are EL who then get reclassified would almost automatically get it, right? Wouldn't they?
Yes. So one of the criteria is a certain score on the CASP, on the English portion of the CASP, and it's a decently high, 2,500 or higher. So if they score that, then yes, they should. Yeah. Great question. So her question was for criteria 4. Is it one of there's like 3 options? It's, yeah, just one of them. Whichever one you score great on, we'll take that one and we'll go with it. Yeah.
Thank you. This was really great. One thing you said just triggered a little question. The addition of the elevation platform, you kind of described that that would enable us to get the data for English language learners for K-8. So I'm assuming we don't currently get that. Like, does an incoming freshman, do we not get their K-8 information?
We get it in a folder and we got to go find it and like, you know.
I see.
So right
this
now,
just is
yeah.
digitizing it. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. No, we do. We have to look for it. It's not just a quick like report.
Thank you.
You. Okay. Assume board members don't know additional questions. 6.1, public hearing and conveyance of water line easement, resolution 2213. Joe.
You. So this was on the last board meeting. We had to do the first, and this is the second time. And at this time, we require a public hearing to be open, and staff recommends approval of the conveyance of a water line easement in the resolution. It's in the packet.
Okay, board members, any questions? I didn't know if you were done yet. If you had more to.
Thought I was going to say more, but I was like, that's pretty.
I felt like you were going to say more. Anyway, any comments, questions? Is there a motion? Yeah, we do, but let's do that first. We'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Any members of the public wish to comment on this item? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Motion? Motion by Board Member Rhoda, second by Board Member Constant. And it's a resolution. Roll call vote.
Marla Franz,
Yes.
Heidi Hall,
Yes.
Julie Rhoda. Yes. And Scott Huber.
Yes. Okay, passes 5-0. 6.2, mobile device purchase for staff.
Yes, this item, which has been budgeted for, was part of our plan to replace the staff Chromebooks that were purchased about 4.5 years ago. And so they're nearing the end of their useful life. And this proposal for staff Chromebooks is a total cost of $504,000 for 600 of them. One of the other things, some of the main features of these Chromebooks are they include a stylus, touchscreen, the ability to potentially be desktop replacements. So we currently have at West Park, and some of the sites have started piloting, rather than replacing a desktop with a desktop, these could be utilized and they're powerful enough with a docking station to replace desktops in the future. So a number of our sites have pursued that so that they could be mobile or stationary at desks. So staff recommends approval of the quote with CDWG for the purchase of the 600 Chromebooks.
Board members, any questions? Comments? Motion by Board Member Hirota. Is there a second? Second by Board Member Hall. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
6.3, review board member committee assignments. Board members, as you know, we have, with the departure of Mr. Tagg and with the arrival of board member Franz, we have the ability to, I don't want to say reshuffle, but the ability to sort of fill holes. And I didn't want to just plug Marla into some spots where Andrew was. So here, I'll make a couple of recommendations, and these are just my thoughts. This is not Cuba. No one's required to, you're free to object, but this is my thought. Let's see, on finance and facilities, I thought I would take Andrew's spot on finance and facilities. It's been a long time since I've been there. And for athletics liaison, I thought it'd be good to plug Marla in there. And then I thought it'd be good, since she's since Marla has shown an interest in curriculum, I thought it'd be good to have Julie and Marla be on that one, so give you a reprieve, Heidi, on that. Those are just my thoughts. Anybody can object, say yes, no, offer something different, whatever you'd like.
You're not adding anything to me, I'm okay.
I'm wondering if Heidi would take.
So athletics would be Heidi and Marla. Heidi knows a thing or two about it. I mean,
Something tells
something tells me that too.
if you have any questions on like where
Pete,
you're good fit.
in that
Yeah,
regard, are you overloaded? Do you want to offload some, or are you?
No, I'm fine, I just don't want anything.
Okay, well, that's just checking. Just checking. Okay, so with that swap of athletics for, so it would now be Marla and Heidi, or Heidi and Marla. Alphabetically first Franz, before also Marla and. Okay, so with that, we want to make a motion to approve those changes.
Move to approve the changes.
Motion by Board Member Hirota, second by Marla. I'm sorry, second by Board Member Franz.
All right.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? Motion carries. Okay. Next regularly scheduled meeting. Scheduled for, here it is, May 12. Why is it not coming up? May 12. Okay, pending agenda items. I'm not going to read the pending agenda items. Board and staff comments. Why don't we start with, we start down here and we'll work our way this way. Twenty-six retirees. Board members. Please.
All right. I just want to thank the board for giving me this opportunity to be up here again. Thank you to Mr. Scott or John Becker. I know Scott Becker. Sorry, John Becker for reaching out to me and helping me coordinate this. I want to thank everyone who's sat through this and been here tonight, especially the people who came up here for the public comment. I know these people up here appreciate it as well. Yeah, I know all your feedback for that. Also, thank you to my mom for sitting here as well. She didn't have to be here tonight, but thank you anyways for being here. And yeah, so that's all. Thank you guys.
I don't want to be a spoiler, but I think she may have recorded some of you speaking today. Just, it's already all over Facebook, by the way. It has a lot of likes too, as I understand it. Great.
Great what Brandon just said. Thank you guys so much, and I appreciate every time I get to be up here with you guys and all of your patience and understanding, just to teach us things that we don't know yet, but I'm excited to learn.
All right, I just want to thank Melanie. I know she took off, but Melanie Hondo for her work tonight in the EL world. It's been kind of a quiet, invisible group over COVID, and we haven't talked or looked into them much, but it's a huge pool for a lot of people in our district. So I want to congratulate her on her presentation. And if you can get to the reclassification ceremony, it's a fun deal. We used to do it at Antelope, and it's a blast to watch kids get recognized for learning a second language, and just the innocence and authenticity in their reactions is really cool. I want to thank Sue Ann Bell for the invite. We attended the AMAs here on Monday outside. It was really, really neat. Parents had their chairs, and the weather was perfect, and it was a really nice ceremony, and to recognize, I think, 277 students for academic achievement. for the class of 22. And then if people get a chance, we have, I believe right now, 2 really good shows. One's showing tonight, but we have Footloose playing here and Bring It On over at West Park. So if you get a chance, go check it out.
Thank you.
Oh, I'll just end my first board meeting saying I feel very privileged to sit here. And as I sat in those seats for a year and a half, watching all of you, and I truly believe you put students first, and I knew that just you all work well together, and I'm honored to be sitting here too. And I have a 10th and an 8th grader, and I believe all parents just want the best for their kids. And that's just where my heart is, whether they're dreaming of a 4-year university, 2-year JC, or training to go into a career. We all take different paths, and we just want the best for them. And I look forward to future conversations and meeting new people, and I hope I can be your voice and serve you well. Thank you.
I was just going to welcome Marla, and I'm super excited to have you with us. It was weird being not on the end of the row. So, right? And the other board members. I'm not the youngest anymore. So, I'm in a good mood tonight. No, no, but seriously, I am really excited just about upcoming. You know, I sat down tonight and there's this schedule of the Merit Awards, so getting to attend some of these end of the season events, I'm really excited, and we've got graduation right around the corner. So I'm just kind of amped up to see this next group graduate. That's it.
Welcome, Marla. It's much better view looking out there than you having to look up at us. So glad you got that view upgrade. Sorry for all the extra work that you now get to do. Few things. Looking forward to all the graduations. I hope to get to at least 4 of them, so looking forward to that. I am almost done with my CSBA indoctrination, Masters in Governance program. I'll have that completed by the end of this month, so I've been working on that for the last year. Happy the school year's almost over. On multiple fronts.
Yeah. At least one graduation you have to go to, right?
Well, yeah, I just went to one. My prior Oakmont grad, Amanda, just graduated from Grand Canyon in 3 years because we prepared her so well. And her twin sister is graduating from San Diego State in just over 2 weeks, also in 3 years, because we prepare our students so well. We have a good school district for getting kids into and thankfully quickly out of college. And my youngest daughter, she graduated on Thursday, but more importantly, she signed her employment contract to be a first grade teacher 2 days before. So she's completely off the payroll. So that is a big deal in my family.
And I cannot give you my most heartfelt congratulations enough. As one who looks forward to getting kids off of the payroll.
Welcome, Marla. Good to have you up here and keep us on our toes. Been asking good questions for 2 years. So now people get to ask good questions of you. See how it feels. No, I'm looking forward to graduation, academic merits, and it's almost the completion of this first full year back. So, but we're not quite there yet, and I won't be probably making the May 26th meeting because my son will be in the jazz band concert here, so I might try to do both, but it usually works out. So. Anyway, that's it.
Okay, so I am also looking forward to the AMAs and the graduations, although, Barbara, if I can get another, I've got an AMA, but I need a graduation instead too. Okay, that may be why I don't have it. Thank you. The other thing, I know I kind of mentioned this before about coming announcements. As far as joint board meetings, I'm in talks with Sierra College about joint board meetings. this upcoming week, I will talk with the 3 partner districts that send their kids to us about doing a joint board meeting with, again, ideally 1, but if not, doing, maximizing as much as we can. So be thinking of things that you want to talk about at each one of those, things that we may want to coordinate. I know, Pete, you mentioned a couple of them, joint calendars or something like that. For Sierra College, a natural one would be, the dual enrollment component. But so be thinking of things that you want to talk about that may be good agenda items to have for those. The other one, I meant to send an email and I forgot about it, but I'll make an announcement to you here. And be looking at your calendars. We'd like to maybe do sort of either a early morning like bagels with the board where we all go to different schools and just invite teachers to come and staff to come and grab a bagel, cream cheese, coffee, juice, whatever, and chat with board members for a little bit. It is the end of the year, and that it's like getting the closer and closer you get to Christmas, the more crazy it gets, right? With all the stuff. The closer and closer we get to the end of the school year, the more they have AP test stuff going on. And so we're trying to coordinate days when that may work with the different sites, but be looking at your calendars and see what day would work. Typically Thursdays and Fridays and sometimes Mondays are usually good, but not necessarily at all the school sites. They have different stuff going on. But anyway, just an opportunity for us to just give a little bit of service, glad hand with staff and let them know how much we appreciate them and get them fed before school. So, because not only kids, it's not just kids who need to eat breakfast before school. It's also the staff and teachers. So, okay, with that, if there's nothing else, then we stand adjourned. All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you for coming.